Well, good afternoon to all of you joining us for this session of the European Research Days 2020 Indonesia. And we have with us an expert speaker who will share his experience, his advice on research opportunities in Austria. Now, I've already learned we will not find any kangaroos there, but you will find plenty of opportunities to advance your research career, to find collaborators. Before I hand over to our speaker for this session this afternoon, please allow me to just briefly share with you some information about Uraxus, the organization that I am representing and which I think offers wonderful support to researchers like yourselves that are interested in exploring the opportunities for research stays in Europe and research collaboration opportunities with European partners. Uraxus is a pan-European initiative. It is supported by over 40 European countries, and we have Uraxus representatives all over the globe. In India, in China, in Japan, in North America, here in Southeast Asia, of course, as well. So Uraxus really is a growing network of researchers, and it's all about allowing you to link up with partners and to develop your research career. What Uraxus offers you is lots of information, and I'm sure that most of you are interested in finding out where the jobs are and where the funding can be found. Now, we have a job and funding portal on the website where you will find thousands of listings every day of research jobs, of fellowships, of funding offers in those European countries, but also in our partner countries across the world. Uraxus also offers you a partnering tool, and that is interesting for those of you that are interested in joining forces with potential collaborators in a different country. So if you're looking for a researcher in your field, you're trying to link up with a research organization, a university in Europe, or you would want to link up with industry partners, you can use our partnering tool. So please do use this opportunity, sign up to the Uraxus network and make sure that you also will be part of this database and can be found by potential collaborators. Uraxus also has a hosting database. Now, what is this? These are concrete offers by European supervisors, European institutions that are looking to host international research talent, for example, as PhD students in their project, as postdoctoral researchers at their labs. So again, an opportunity for you to build your research network. There's a lot of information out there, and I know this is overwhelming. The European research area is huge. There is literally thousands of opportunities. And what we've done is we've put it all in one convenient location. So on the Uraxus website, you will find detailed information on all the different Uraxus member countries, including Austria. You will find out who the research agencies are in Austria, what kind of funding mechanisms they have. You will find also what kind of openings they have, what kind of jobs are available at institutions across Austria. And what we have for you is personalized assistance. So we have a service network that spans the entire European research area with support offices that are helping you as a mobile, as an international researcher to move to Europe to make your research career development a reality. Now, I am part of Uraxus worldwide. I'm based in Southeast Asia. I'm based in Singapore. Unfortunately, today I can't be with you in person, but we're meeting here online. You can always email me if you would like to have further assistance. And I've put in here this convenient QR code, which will link you to the Uraxus ASEAN website. And this is where you would find all the information relevant to you as researchers in Southeast Asia interested in working with partners in Europe. And of course, we do lots of activities like our event today, the European Research Days Indonesia, which are going on until next Monday with lots and lots and lots of opportunities to find out how you can benefit from the opportunities in Europe. And right now, we're right in the middle of our first session today, and that is research opportunities in Austria. And it is my great pleasure to introduce you to today's speaker, which is Professor Dietmar Haltrich. And I think Professor Haltrich has been working for about 20 years at different universities across Southeast Asia, so you might have actually met him before. Professor Haltrich is the professor of food biotechnology. He is currently at BOKU, that is the University of Natural Resources and Life Sciences based in beautiful Vienna in Austria. He has different functions as well. He is the regional coordinator of his university for the Southeast Asia, and he is also his university's representative for the ASEAN European University Academic Network. And that is a very interesting project that I'm sure he will talk about, with opportunities for you to benefit from mobility opportunities. I think he's also been involved in several Erasmus Mundus programs together with partner institutions across Indonesia. So he is the best person for you to brief you on the opportunities that are available in Austria. And with this, I will invite Professor Haltrich to deliver his presentation. Professor Haltrich, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the introduction and for the kind words. Good morning from Vienna, good afternoon to Singapore, to Indonesia and all the other countries in Southeast Asia. As Susanne mentioned, can you see the presentation now?
Yes, we can. Perfect.
All right, okay. As Susanne mentioned, I am from a university in Vienna, BOKU, and this is one of the smaller ones, and it's about 140 years old, which makes it one of the younger universities in Vienna or in Austria. So science and education at universities goes back quite some time in Austria. I had been involved in Erasmus Mundus projects together with some Indonesian partner universities, and through that collaboration, I started to meet colleagues from Indonesia. I started to appreciate them, and this is also why I'm happy that I can try to increase cooperation between Indonesian researchers and the European Union and Austria, of course. As Susanne also mentioned, we don't have kangaroos in Austria. Austria is situated right here in the center of Europe. It's part of the European Union, the EU27. You might notice that the UK is not part of it anymore. But maybe that is also one of the reasons that you might not have noticed Austria that much when it comes to science. It's small, and very often it's confused with Australia. I don't know how often it had been said that I come from Australia, in fact, instead of Austria. And just to give you a short idea about research in Austria, why it might be worth to think of a research stay, a research career together with Austrian partners. This is from a report from the European Union, the Horizon 2020 report on Austria. And I just want to point out two things here. One is the research and innovation intensity ranking, where Austria is number 2 out of 28 countries that were compared here. It's seen as a strong innovator, and part of that goes back to the research and development intensity, where Austria is number 2 among the European Union countries and number 5 worldwide. So a lot of money is spent on research and development, both from the state and from companies. And that, of course, as you will see later, will also give you opportunities to do research together with Austrian partners. It's seen as a strong innovator, meaning it's not only following current research trends, but it's also setting research trends. Austrian research institutions, universities, companies are working in novel, innovative areas. The amount of money that is put into research and development also has an outcome, and these are seen as the key performance indicators, publications, and patents. And here again, you see a comparison between different countries that might come to your attention when you think about research or going to go into research with some partners, Japan, Australia, and so on as well. And as you can see here, Austria is maybe not on the very top here, but it's among the top countries when it comes to patent intensity. So a lot of the money that is put into research will actually end up in patent applications. So you can see it's wedged between Germany and the US here with respect to patent intensity, and also for the publication intensity, a lot of the money going into research will actually end up in publications. And here you can see Austria is in front of the US, for example. It's somewhere near New Zealand and around Australia as well. The OECD, the Organization on Economic Cooperation and Development, had this review on innovation policy. It had this country review on Austria, and these are the areas of science and research in Austria where Austrian institutions are strong worldwide. Quantum communication and information, more on the physics part, industrial and medical biotechnology, mechatronics, automotive and production technology, and smart grids and public transports. So these are seen as the highlights and the focal points of Austrian science and research. And of course, if you can link to colleagues from Austrian universities working in these areas, you can work in the front of research worldwide as well. In 2017, Austrian ranked 4th in the European Union in terms of new graduates in science and engineering. So again, there is a strong focus of the Austrian government to foster and to strengthen science, natural science and engineering for education and research. There was a large program to increase investments in science through the European structural and investment funds. And these were key points that the Austrian government defined to strengthen these areas through European investments. And you can see, again, it's information technology, life science, material science, bioeconomy, but also humanities and so on. Current topics that will again be strengthened for research, and again that would be
Professor Haltrich, your microphone is not working.
university where I'm working at, that is the University of Natural Resources and Life Sciences, focusing on agriculture, forestry, and life sciences. So according to your interest, you can look up these different universities and see if they are doing research that might be of interest to you. I took this list here from the QS World University Rankings by subject. So these are some areas where Austrian universities are typically ranked among the top 100, 150 universities worldwide. I want to point out this one here, performing arts. Here, the University of Music from Vienna was ranked #1 worldwide. And of course, Austria is well known for performing arts, music, and so on. But you find some other areas as well: business and management studies at the University of Economics in Vienna, communication, media, linguistics at the University of Vienna, as well as University of Graz. Architecture is a strong area at both technical universities, computer science, information systems, engineering at 2 universities, Vienna and Linz. Civil engineering, medicine is strong at 2 universities, the Medical University in Vienna and Graz as well. BOKU is ranking, I think, number 30 or 35 in the area of agriculture and forestry. And then we have some others: veterinary medicine, physics, earth sciences, and tourism at a small university in Krems. So these are some areas where Austrian universities are doing very well and where they are found top ranked in this QS World University ranking. So that was the science part, but for your younger colleagues, and I think a lot of what I'm saying is for early stage researchers who are interested in a PhD or who are interested in a postdoc, it's also worthwhile to look at the cities, and then there is this QS ranking of the best student cities. And here, Vienna is currently at position 13 worldwide, and it's the 4th place for the European Union cities. And these are some citations from this report that Vienna is ranking high because of low tuition fees, and because of that, it is among the top 40 scoring for affordability. And Vienna also earns a high score in this desirability indicator, meaning that students want to come to Vienna because of this status here, where it's ranked as one of the world's most livable cities. If you look at this QS ranking for best student cities, Graz is the only other city, Austrian city, that is ranked there, position 79, and Jakarta is currently at position 109 out of 120 cities that were ranked. I mentioned this city rankings, so this is only on Vienna. I have to apologize to my colleagues in Austria that I'm mainly talking about Vienna here. So Mercer ranked Vienna as the #1 most livable city in the world for 10 years in a row by now. Mercer compares 231 cities worldwide. And again, just for a comparison, Singapore is at position 25 in this ranking, Jakarta at position 142. And these are 4 areas where Vienna got the top score: stability, health services, education. And of course, you see that education, both at the school level and at university level, is seen as very high in Austria or in Vienna. And then infrastructure, mainly also about public transport and so on. There is a separate ranking on personal safety done by Mercer, and here Vienna is ranked #6 worldwide. And again, personal safety includes internal stability, political stability, as well as crime rates, and so on. So just to sum up, these are some aspects that might make living, studying, and doing research in Austria worthwhile. Austrian universities offer excellent and high-level education and research, as I tried to show you briefly. It's relatively affordable, at least for European cities. Tuition fees are very low at Austria. Sometimes at the doctoral level, you get these tuition fees reimbursed, when being successful. We have excellent public transport in all Austrian cities that are hosting universities. They're safe cities. We have very low crime rates, so there is absolutely no problem to go out at night when it's dark already. These cities offer cultural life, culture, music, museums, and so on. There are a lot of opportunities for recreation, like doing sports, biking, hiking, and if you're brave enough and you come to Austria, you can also go skiing. And finally, one of the aspects that might interest students particularly is food. There is a large community of coming from Turkey, sometimes second generation people from Turkey. And because of that, you can get halal food rather easily in a lot of shops. And for example, where I live, there is an Indonesian store close by. They offer fresh tempeh. They offer at least 5 different types of sambal. I know that food can also be important for students when living here, because that would be something that they have to encounter during their everyday life. I would like to come to a different part now, and that is on funding opportunities in Austria. So this was compiled by a colleague of mine, Maria Unger, and she's from the Austrian Agency for International Cooperation in Education and Research, or OEAD in short. OEAD is an Austrian agency, and they are working in the area of international mobility and cooperation in education, science, and research. And they have a lot of different tasks. They administer and advertise funding and scholarship programs. They support recipients of these grants, and that is important because once you get a grant through OEAD, they will take care of you. They will support you when it comes to housing. They will support you when it comes to visa applications, to applications for residence permits, and so on. And that will make the life of foreign researchers much, much easier already. They provide information and advice, they promote the programs, and they also act as a national agency for Erasmus Plus, and I will talk about that briefly later on as well. So these are the information services. So they support students in finding right study programs. They also have a database where you will find study programs that are taught in English. Typically, German is spoken in English, but you will find a range of master programs already that are taught entirely in English. And for a PhD and for doing research at Austria, this is absolutely not a problem when you only speak English. They are also the access point to Uraxus. So Susanne was talking about that already. So you can get information that is tailored to Austria through the OEAD as well. They support you with these legal matters, as I said, entry, visa, residence permits. And finally, they have a database for scholarships and research grants. And this you can find at grants.at. And this is something that might be of interest for you because it's very well structured, and you can search this database for scholarship opportunities that might be of interest for you, and you can tailor that to your specific needs. So you will be able to search by category as shown here. You can type in your country of origin, which would of course then be mainly Indonesia. You can say you want to come to Austria and you are looking for different types of grants. So you could, for example, search for grants that will support you when it comes to an entire degree program where you can go through a master program or a PhD program. It could be for just a short exchange program that you're interested in. You might be interested in a research grant where you don't come for studying, but for doing research at one of the universities and so on. You can tailor it according to your own target group, whether you're a PhD student who wants to do a PhD, a complete PhD or part of a PhD, or a postdoc. You can also search for your study or research field. So you can use all of that information. You can put that into this database that is shown here, into this search window, and then the database will give you suggestions on possible scholarships, grants that you can apply for. And overall, there are more than 1,000 funding opportunities within this database at the moment. Grants from Austrian funding organization, international funding organization, but sometimes also grants that are offered from specific universities. These are some scholarships that I thought, or we thought, might be of interest for Indonesian colleagues. And these are scholarships that are managed and advertised through OEAD. One is this Ernst Mach Grant Worldwide. So this is open for all PhD students and postdocs, considering that they're not older than 35 years. It's open for all areas of study. And here, once you apply, once you're successful with your application, you can come to Austria for up to 9 months, and both the travel costs and the stay in Austria are covered by that grant. You see the rate here, it's roughly €1,000 that PhD students will get per month. But with this amount of money, you can easily survive in Austria. So as I said before, it's rather affordable compared to some other European cities. So this is a grant that is offered worldwide. Applications can come from around the world. There is one, and this is called the Ernst Mach Grant ASEA-Uninet, that might be of particular interest for you, because this is only for these 5 countries here, and Indonesia is among these. So Indonesians can apply for this grant, and if successful, this grant can cover a complete PhD. So you could get funding for up to 36 months. There are individual or yearly evaluations in between, but if a PhD is running smoothly, then the grant will be up to 3 years, and this typically covers the complete PhD, and then you can complete your doctoral degrees after these 3 years. Postdocs can apply as well. They can apply for research days of up to 9 months. In addition, there is a specific scholarship program that had been agreed upon by the Indonesian and the Austrian governments. It's co-financed by both Indonesia and Austria, and this is for postgraduates from Indonesia who are qualified for a doctoral or a PhD program in Austria. I think one of the qualifications is that you have to work at the university in Indonesia. I think you need a certain language score to qualify for that as well. But again, it is open for all areas of research. Again, there is an age limit, 35 years or 5 years after obtaining a master degree. And again, it covers 36 months of research stay in Austria, plus these 9 months of a preparatory phase before departure. So you also get a certain phase where you are financed and where you can prepare for your research stay in Austria, so that once you're here, you can take off immediately. So this is open yearly. There is an open call every year, and this is applied through the Indonesian Ministry of Education. This is the person responsible for that. But once you had been selected for this scholarship program, the program is handled through the Austrian side. So the money goes to OEAD, they take care of you, they support you with your visa, with your residence permit, they pay the money to you. So once you had been selected, you're again a member of this OEAD scholarship family, where you can take part in their program. And what they're doing, they're offering meetings, they're also offering trips together so that you get to know other people as well. There are some other scholarships that are handled by OEAD. If you're interested in German language, if you're interested in Austrian literature specifically, there are some short-term grants for that. Or if you are working at the university in the field of history, and if you are primarily occupied with Austria-related topics, then again, you can apply for this specific grant here. The advantage of these, the Indonesia-Austria Scholarship Program and this Ernst Mach grant, ASEA-Uninet, is that they are open to a wide range of different areas. There is the Erasmus Plus higher education program worldwide, and again, Austrian universities are part of that. So there are two large program lines. So one is the one that is fostering international mobility between program and partner countries, mainly between partner universities. So you have to apply for that with your partner universities in Europe, in Austria, for example, and then this supports mobility for up to a year for credit mobility when your students want to take courses here, but it can also cover teaching. In addition, there is this program line within Erasmus that is for joint master degrees. Again, you have to apply as a consortium. You need at least 3 higher education institutions to apply for that. You apply for a joint master program, and then your students can take part in that. They can come to Austria or to the partner universities for taking courses here. Austria and the OEAD is also part of Uraxus. There is this Uraxus Austria. Susanne had already talked about this in much detail, so I don't want to go into this again too much. You find, when you're interested in Austria-specific points, the web address here, uraxus.at, and there is one thing that I want to point out that is offered here. It's this researcher's guide to Austria that would be helpful regardless of what program you come to Austria. You can download it, and it can give you information on everyday life in Austria. It gives you information on legal matters, housing, universities, and so on. So this is something that you can access through the Uraxus AT web page here. Just briefly, because I had been involved in the scholarship programs, the Ernst Mach, ASEA-Uninet, and the Indonesia-Austria program. Just for younger colleagues, some suggestions when it comes to the application for these 2 specific scholarship programs. What you need a supervisor, a potential supervisor at an Austrian university. And what I would suggest is that you get in contact with the supervisor, maybe by looking at the webpage of the university. You discuss your research interests, and then you prepare a research proposal that is based on a mutual agreement on the topic with the supervisor. Don't address supervisors with a research proposal that you made up by yourself. You might not meet the interest of the supervisor. So if you have this mutual agreement, this will make the chance of getting accepted much, much higher. You need a letter of acceptance to apply of these 2 specific study programs that I mentioned. And once these applications have been checked for formal criteria, there will be an interview conducted. Typically, the interview is held in Indonesia, in Jakarta. This year was special for obvious reasons. And then again, all further steps will be supported by the Austrian side as well. This research proposal should be a short proposal that the applicant wrote himself or herself in agreement with the supervisor. You should give a clear problem description. You should write about expected results. You should write a bit about the methods as well. And you should also state why you think you're qualified to do this type of research. So this is what the interviews will get to judge your application from. So that would be very important when it comes to the selection. And finally, just a few words on this network that I mentioned before, ASEA-Uninet. ASEA-Uninet is the ASEAN European Academic University Network. It was founded by universities from Austria, originally as the only European partner, Indonesia, Thailand, and Vietnam. It has expanded by now to more than 80 universities, different countries. There are additional European countries involved in this network as well, but Austria is by far the strongest European partner in the network. This network is organized so that each member university has a coordinator, and then there you have nation coordinators as well. You have a chairperson of the network, you have vice chairpersons. So if you're interested in one of the member universities, you could, for example, think about contacting this university coordinator, and that person might help you with whatever you're trying to do. There is this web page here. There are regular meetings that are held on the level of the university coordinators. These are held approximately every year and a half, and the national coordinators meet regularly as well. The aim of this university network is to encourage and to facilitate relationships between member universities, and this only is valid for member universities and government and non-governmental organizations that are active in education, science, technology, and so on. The network tries and supports cooperation, tries to enable and support cooperation between these academic institutions, helping in staff and student exchange, in teaching and research activities, and another aim is to contribute to research that is relevant to the world's problem, mainly aiming at these sustainable development goals. As I said before, Austria is the strongest of the European members in this network. All Austrian universities are members, and there are 11 universities from Indonesia who are members of this network as well. I don't want to read them all out to you. You can find it later on in the PDF files of this presentation. This is the national coordinator for Indonesia. She is at the Universitas Indonesia in Jakarta. So in case you have questions concerning the network, you may contact this person here. And then there is this vice national coordinator. And again, you may contact that person as well in case you have any questions regarding the network. The network is quite active, as you can see here. This was taken from the annual report on Indonesia, and you can see the number of mobilities in 2019. Again, 2020 unfortunately is very special, but you see that there had been a number of mobilities when it comes to inbound staff mobility, joint research, community outreach programs, and so on. So staff mobility in the range of 50 persons taking part, and also some student mobility. Partner universities organize these ASEA-Uninet student weeks where they can learn about Indonesian culture, where they can learn about aspects that are of interest for Indonesia, doing so either online or here or there in Indonesia. So it is an active network, and one aspect that might the network interesting for you as well, specifically when it comes to cooperation between Indonesian and the Austrian member universities, there is money available for cooperation projects. And there are two types of projects. Initiation projects. So if you have a new idea, if you have a new partner at an Austrian university, you can apply for these mobility costs for up to 7 days, meaning that your Austrian university partner could come to Indonesia for up to a week or 7 working days. You could go to Austria for up to 7 days to initiate new projects, either in the area of teaching or research. If you have established links to an Austrian university already, and if you are a member of ASEA-Uninet, you could think of cooperation projects. Here, mobility costs can be covered for up to 3 months, and also some projects cost just small amounts of money that might be necessary for the joint research, for seminars and lectures would be covered. What is important is that applications have to be submitted by the Austrian partner. You cannot apply for these cooperation projects. This has to be done through the Austrian partner. So if you think about such a type of project, find an Austrian partner, and if you're a member of ASEA-Uninet from the Indonesian side, find an Austrian partner and see whether you can apply for these projects. Another drawback, unfortunately, is that the Indonesian side is only covered through the costs that would come from staying in Austria. So if you send somebody for 2-3 months to do research here, the stays that are relevant for accommodation, housing, and so on in Austria, these would be covered through these cooperation projects. Travel costs cannot be covered because of some legal reasons. So you would have to come up with the travel money for Indonesian partners taking part in these projects. But apparently what I heard, that it seems to be some movement. This might change in the near future. Typically, there is one round of application for these projects, typically by the beginning of the year, around March, and then projects can be done during the academic year from the beginning of October until the end of September of that year where you had applied for these joint projects. And I know that there are some successful projects, also some that involve Indonesian universities. With that, I have come to an end. I want to say thank you, terima kasih, for listening to this presentation here. And I also want to thank Mrs. Unger for sharing these slides on the ERD and the scholarship opportunities. So thank you, and that is the end of it.
Thank you so much, Professor Haltrich. Lots of information there, I think, for us to digest. And while you have been talking, a lot of questions came in from the audience. So I just want to go through as many questions as we can. So let me just start here with the questions. There is, the question is repeated quite often, is what the eligibility criteria are to do postdoctoral research in Austria. I think you've gone through that already by talking about how to draft a proposal and how to communicate with a potential supervisor. Could you maybe give the researchers just again a little bit of advice how they could go about identifying a potential supervisor in Austria? What would be your top 2 tips how to approach this?
I would think one of the main criteria is show your own initiative. Look at the web pages of the universities and try to find someone who is active in your line of research. If you go through the university coordinator of ASEA-Uninet, for example, that person might contact potential partners, but then your potential supervisor might think that you're lacking your own initiative already. The second suggestion is when you approach a potential partner, a potential supervisor, mention that you're aiming at applying for your own funds. We do get a number of these requests, and I have to admit very often we don't really read them in much detail. If you say, okay, I am from this university, we have links to Austria, and I'm thinking about applying to the Ernst Mach grant worldwide, about applying for the Ernst Mach ASEA-Uninet grant, that would mean that I bring my own money and I just want to set up this research collaboration with you. This will make the chance of being successful in finding a supervisor much higher already. Other aspects are of course English, but I think that comes without speaking. And then you have to come up with a topic that is really in the line of research of your supervisor. It should interest the supervisor. And if you look at the other side, I mean, if I get a postdoc for 6 months, for 9 months, that would mean I get 2 additional hands and an additional head for my laboratory. And of course, that can be very helpful if that person can work in an area in that I'm interested as well.
Thank you so much. I think that is very good advice. So I think to summarize it, the researcher, him or herself, needs to know what they are proposing, and they need to make sure that what they're proposing meets the interests of the supervisor. So it's really a win-win situation. We had a wonderful panel discussion yesterday with Indonesian researchers who are currently in Europe or who have strong partners in Europe, and that was their message as well. The message really was you have to also do your homework. You cannot expect someone else to do it for you. If you have the information, you really need to read through it and understand it and then approach potential partners. But another question that came up quite often is, what are the chances after maybe postdoctoral research to secure a faculty position in Austria? Are there opportunities?
There are opportunities, but I briefly mentioned one of the possible hurdles in that. In our bachelor program, we are still teaching in German. So very often a basic knowledge of German is required when asking or looking for a faculty position. I had a colleague, he is at the University of Technology. Originally, he's from Vietnam. And once he got offered the faculty position, he was given some years' time to study German and to learn German so that he could give basic courses in German as well. So yes, there is a chance, but you have to be willing to learn a second language, a third language probably for you, to be able to teach and communicate in German.
Thank you, which of course is another qualification. It's only a matter of how you look at it. Again, we had this Indonesian researcher, a very established researcher in Indonesia, and he is in Germany right now, and he's learning German. And he says for him, this is an added value for his research CV, because that will make him more employable in the future. So thank you so much for that. Let me just go back to the additional questions that have come in. So you've already, there are a lot of questions, of course, from researchers that are wondering about specific areas of research. Maybe you just quickly remind our audience which website would be the one to look at if they're trying to find out which university is leading in a specific field.
I think you will all have access to the PDF files here. So I think you should find some of this information from this QS ranking by subject. What you could do if you want to be proactive, look up, and I'm not only talking about Austria now, if you are interested in research in Europe, look up this QS ranking by subject. which is quite recent. I think these data are from 2020. You can access that on the internet, and then you can say, okay, I am interested specifically in this and this area, and you can see what are the top universities in the world and also in Europe. So that could be a possibility, this QS ranking by subject, to give you an idea which ones are good universities for a certain area. Maybe you should not aim too high, because if you apply to Cambridge or Oxford, they definitely would be high up in the ranking, but I can assume that they get a number of applications as well. So try to be reasonable about that, but it will give you an idea what universities are offering good research and good teaching in certain areas.
Thank you so much. Again, as you just said, of course, everybody will get the presentation slides, and everybody will get the recording of this webinar. So Professor Haltrich has given us lots of information, so you can look at this at your own leisure. And I think from what we've heard today, there are, of course, opportunities in all academic disciplines. So I am sure that you too will find an opportunity. There was a question regarding age limit. So there is an age limit for a lot of these funding opportunities, which is 35. Would there also be opportunities for people that are maybe older than that? Is there something that you could point out at this point?
The age limit 35 refers to PhD programs. So if you're applying for a PhD, the age limit is 35. Postdocs, the age limit is higher. I think it's 45 or 50 if I'm not mistaken. So if you're interested in doing postdoctoral research, the age limit of 35 does not refer to you.
Thank you so much. And I think we have pretty much answered all questions. There were some very specific questions, and I will make sure I forward those via email to Maria Unger and also to Professor Haltrich, so that they can reply to those in writing. But I think for today, we have received a lot of information. I think the message is Austria is waiting for you. Austria has opportunities for short-term attachments for you to do your PhD there, to do postdoctoral research in Austria. And we've got a lot of information for you to get started. I just wanted to, before I close, share my screen just briefly again, because I wanted to show you the website here of Uraxus Austria, because I think that could be a wonderful starting point for those of you that have been listening now and you're kind of keen to get going, because here you can see 290 opportunities right now in Austria, and these are career opportunities at all levels within your research career. So from PhD to postdoc to senior researchers. And I would just like to invite you to make use of this. You will find here not only the jobs and the funding opportunities, but lots of information about living in Austria, working in Austria. And here you also have a lot of the guides and the printed material that Professor Haltrich was referring to help you navigate the Austrian research landscape and to hopefully find an opportunity that meets your needs. And I think with this, I'd like to thank Professor Haltrich for taking the time out of his busy schedule. I hope you have a wonderful evening in Vienna. And to all our audience members today, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you found this insightful. I wish you the best of luck with your career development, and everybody stay safe and healthy. Thank you so much.
Also, maybe goodbye from me. Just the last sentence, probably. Please take the opportunity of going abroad. It might be frustrating at some points. It might get frustrated with all the applications, but it is a rewarding experience and you learn a lot out of it. So this is something that is offered to you. You just have to take the opportunity. So with that, thank you very much. And hopefully some of you will come to the European Union and to Austria for their studies or for some of their research. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.